what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The press conference for the 2022 Mr. Olympia just wrapped up. So I'm going to give you guys the highlight reel here of everything that was said that was really important. First off, you had Rami, Brandon, and Hadi in the first little segment of this press conference. Not super interesting, not super juicy. There was really no beef or gossip or call-outs during this point. I think the main takeaway for Rami, Brandon, and Hadi was Rami said the goal this year is conditioning. There wasn't as much focus on size. Brandon said the difference for him this year was that he put in a lot more time actually in Kuwait. He says in previous years, because of travel restrictions and the virus, he wasn't able to be as as time committed to the travel and spending the time in Kuwait in previous preps. He said this year that was different. And then Hadi said, of course, this year he is coming to win. Now, the main segment for men's open bodybuilding, that was really the interesting part. You had Ian Valliere, Blessing Awodabu, Raphael Brandau, William Bonac, Andrew Jack, Nick Walker, Derek Lunsford, Hunter Labrada, all these guys on stage, and Michael Krizo. All these guys on stage at the same time. It was kind of chaotic. That was the longest segment of the press conference. And I would say the biggest standout part of that to me was really the personality displayed by Andrew Jack. I didn't realize he was so entertaining. He was one of the guys that was talking the most during this press conference. At one point, he called out Ian Valliere. I thought that was a pretty interesting part. I guess that Ian had called out, I guess not really called out, but I guess they were criticizing, they were very critical of Andrew on Fuad's podcast. Andrew said prior to the Arnold UK and prior to the Texas Pro, and Andrew made a point to say, you talk the talk, I walk the walk and proved you wrong. I do think that Andrew will place ahead of Ian Valliere at the Olympia. So I thought that was interesting, the way that Andrew kind of fearlessly called out Ian on stage. And then Ian responded and said, it's just a matter of an opinion. It's my opinion, whether you like it or not. It doesn't really matter. So that was really his only response to Andrew. And he said that he will, Ian also said he will be in the first call out this year. So that was kind of the gist of that. And then it would go on. I guess the other interesting part would be when Michael Krizo came out. Michael Krizo said, Bob said for Krizo, that Krizo doesn't speak much English, so he wanted to let his physique do the talking. Krizo was the only one that came out and started posing on stage. So that was interesting. And again, Andrew Jack came out, started talking, said, you're a show-off. This doesn't really matter. But it was friendly, and it was just kind of respectful banter. But Andrew Jack definitely seemed to be the standout for me of this press conference in terms of really showing his personality. And just overall, if you're talking about overall size, Andrew Jack, from a height standpoint, a width standpoint, just a sheer standpoint of taking up space on that stage, he was clearly by far the biggest guy on that stage, and really all eyes drawn to him, even though everybody was in sweatshirts here. Andrew Jack, I'm really excited to see him perform tomorrow at the prejudging. Then Blessing came out and called everyone out. I really, to be honest, thought it was a little bit cringe, and I think Nick Walker had one of the best comebacks of the night during that segment when Blessing came out and he was calling Nick Brick. Again, I think that's kind of a homage to Kanye West calling Pete Davidson Skeet. Nick said, I don't talk to guys that are in the third call out. So I thought that was probably one of the best comebacks in the whole press conference. So there was that. And Nick also said, another part of this that I thought was interesting is that Nick also said he does think he should have beat Hunter at last year's Olympia. And then Bob also asked Hunter if Hunter thought that he should have placed any higher at last year's Olympia, meaning top 3. And I thought Hunter had a really good response in saying no. I thought that was a really humble response for him to say last year, no, 4th place was what I deserved. I wasn't quite ready for top 3. And I thought that was a good response from Hunter. So that's pretty much the wrap-up of the press conference. Honestly, the classic physique segment was kind of weird. They didn't really give them much time to talk, and it seemed like there was some kind of error in the expediting of the show, because they kind of cut it short very abruptly and then brought out the wheelchair bodybuilders like in the middle of the classic interview. So you didn't really get to hear much from Terrence, Breon, and Chris. So not really much to say about the classic portion of the press conference. So as far as the press conference went, I thought it was entertaining overall. I do prefer the old style of where they had kind of everybody on the stage at the same time. I just thought that was it was a more succinct format. I thought it had better flow to it, because with this one, it seemed like they had all this stuff timed out to, I guess, expedite the process, and they would have music play really loud when it's time to end the segment and cut over to the next one. And I just thought that was like, it didn't give them really enough time to really flesh out each interview. And I kind of liked the older, everybody on stage at the same time format of interview. And then you just ask each guy a different question or whatever. This one, it was entertaining overall, but I don't really like the standing, rush them in and out format. And that was kind of awkward with everybody kind of standing on stage next to each other. I think the seated auditorium format is just more, probably more practical overall. And then they brought Blessing back out. Well, they brought everybody back out at the very end, and Blessing kind of had another segment where he called out Nick and danced around the stage a little bit. Honestly, I wasn't really a fan of these segments, because it was just, I feel like they gave Blessing the mic longer than anybody else, and I don't think anyone really wanted to hear that much from Blessing. I actually would have wanted to hear more from Andrew Jacked, Nick Walker, Hunter Labrada. I'd have liked to see Andrew, Nick, and Rami kind of interact more. We didn't really get to hear, Nick get asked about the new guys, or Rami really get asked about Michael Krizo or Andrew Jack. We didn't really get to see those questions, and it was, I think, kind of overshadowed by some of the blessing stuff. And I, for one, would have liked to hear Big Rami's opinion on Krizo or Andrew Jacked. And like I said, Krizo's called out Nick Walker. Krizo called out Blessing. I would have even liked to see some more interaction between Blessing and Krizo. But I guess because of Krizo's limited English, that wasn't really on the table as much. But that's the wrap-up of the press conference. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. What are your predictions for the Olympia tomorrow? Are they changed at all after watching this press conference, and how do you feel after watching it? Again, I want to thank the Arnold Classic for sponsoring today's video and all of my Olympia coverage this weekend. Visit arnoldsports.com to reserve your Arnold Classic, Arnold Strongman Classic, and Ultimate Expo VIP packages. I will be there, signing autographs, meeting you guys, taking pictures. I hope that all of you guys will be there at the Arnold Classic in March as well. That's going to wrap it up for the video. As always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.
I think that every bodybuilder has something unique. If it is the pose off, or if it is a certain pose that really closes the deal. I think the action is a lot of it in a combination of symmetry, of size, muscle separation, definition, and the performance, so that you can show off this quality that you have. Because they have a lot.
Alright guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also check out my Instagram at NickStrengthPower, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.